Hi there, I'm Pamela Martin, and Barbara Mowat and I would like to let you know about an event that's coming up in Vancouver. It's a conference about women and business called EXCELerate, but it's so much more than that. It's a thought leadership conference, and the woman behind it is Barbara Mowat, a leader among women entrepreneurs and small business owners in BC. So, Barbara, you started this conference in 2015. This is the fourth one now, offering an amazing lineup of key leaders from many countries with a truly global perspective. I know that you're a passionate supporter of women establishing and succeeding at their own businesses. The past conferences were amazing, and I know that because I went to them. So tell us about EXCELerate 2024. What can we expect?
Thank you. Well, Pamela, it's first of all, I want to thank you for agreeing to be my MC again, Mistress of Ceremonies. And I
Love it.
want to share something personal. I followed you when you were you were an anchor for CTV National News. And back in the early 90s, I do want to share this. Back in the early 90s, the real mega trend at that time was home-based businesses. And I lived in Abbotsford in a bungalow. My staff, I was home-based. And that's why I was writing the manual, how to start a home-based business, how to market. I became quite well known internationally on starting home-based business associations. So I was thrilled when I got a call from the Pamela Martin from CTV News, who wanted
Funny.
to bring her camera person out to my modest home in Abbotsford. And you did. And ever
Well,
since
Barbara,
then, and
you
that
were
was
a trailblazer, and it was a fantastic story. And it was just, you were doing some great things, and you were the pioneer.
we definitely, I'll take credit for that because we did, we hired people to do research like Barbara Orser, and she said I was the first one for her to do a research project for Ryerson at the time. So yes, but I never forgot. That was the first time a television crew came to my house and actually interviewed me. So here we are again. That was 1990. So
Wow.
imagine that. And we still look young, don't we, Pamela?
Absolutely. That's only 35 years ago. Ah,
So now, so since then, uh, home-based business has certainly come full circle again. And
yes.
I was going to do this in-person conference in May 2020. And then, of course, March 2020, COVID hit. I was in Washington. I was doing a conference there with Women Elevating Women, then with OWIT, and going to go to the John F. Kennedy Center as a guest of Elise Nelson and Vital Voices. And March 12th, everything was canceled. March 11th, instead, I'm flying home. And I went in panic and I went, what am I going to do? So I actually rescued it by doing the whole 2021 conference virtually. And it was amazing. And I can't believe that we did that, but we did.
It was.
But
It was
everybody
amazing.
said to me, yes, but everyone said to me, we want to go back in person. We want the experience. And yet we're finding that is challenging for people because suddenly they're having to get on a flight. They're having to get a hotel room. But there's so many positive things that we can say. So here I am doing the fourth one with the same. So we always choose a theme. So I
Ah,
know that you asked me that you were asking that prior to this call. It was, what's the difference between plenary sessions and our workshop sessions, our track sessions? So what I always try to do in an EXCELerate conference is to say, look, plenary sessions, it's a mega trend. Everyone's going to listen to it. So we have something on, and I can talk a little bit more about that. Whereas the workshop sessions deal with leadership, the best power of you, who are you? We talk about global competitiveness and business growth. but megatrends is always what are the latest issues and solutions that people have to look at. So 2.5 days, Vancouver, BC, April 24th to 26th. And you're my amazing mistress of ceremonies again.
Yes. Well, now I know that you told me that there were basically 4 themes of the whole conference. So can you sort of narrow those down for us and explain what they are?
I certainly can. So, of course, let me start with megatrends, because to me, the 3 most important topics that I want to deal with in this conference is everybody's talking about AI. So it will be a plenary in front of everyone. But AI is not going to be your typical AI session where it's like, well, how do I use GBT? How do I involve it into my business? I want it to be AI I want people to understand, is it a global disruptor? Is it good or is it harmful? So I want to go more in depth. And of course, the other big theme that I see as very important as a megatrend, and we can again talk further about it, but it's encouraging a sustainable future where I have incredible speakers, Hank Rogers, Monique Maison, Amanda Ellis, Nicole Rycroft, Mariah Linton. I want to really encourage us to find what do we need to know about everything from blockchain technology to how do we make the planet greener. So again, the speakers will deal with that topic very effectively and professionally. And the third plenary, and I'm just going to mention them and then we can go in depth. It's access to capital, investing with a gender lens, a topic that's been around for 30 years and we're still having to deal with it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I noticed that sustainability actually ran through almost every topic. So can you explain to us how that relates to business, sustainability in business?
I think that people want to businesses are starting to look at things like, how can I do good? How is business changing? And look at the cry for a greener planet. So one of my speakers is Hank Rogers, the famous Hank Rogers from who brought Tetris to Canada. And his movie, by the way, is great. It's on Apple TV and you got to watch it if you can. And
Okay.
what I like about his topic is that he really has put his money where his mouth is. He's got Blue Planet Energy, Blue Planet Alliance, Blue Planet Foundation. And it's just incredible what he's been able to do in a short time in the last few years. In fact, in Hawaii, where he lives on a beautiful big ranch, which is absolutely off the grid. He is the first, Hawaii is the first state to declare themselves 100% renewable energy.
Wow.
Pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. And he really believes, and as all the panelists do, they're all saying, Barbara, are you having youth come? Like that's the future. So I've given away 20 seats to students in elementary, high school, and university, because he believes that they are everyone on the panel does. They believe that they are the global ambassadors for a change in our planet. And you see them always at COP, right? You see them all over the world. But guess what? They're never included in the final stages of who's making the decision. Right?
Good point. Good point. And they should be.
And they should be. And they should be. That's right. So those are the 3 big ones. And of course, I have to address all the other topics. An example is global competitiveness. Global competitiveness. How in a small country like Canada can we possibly be competitive when we don't have the same kind of population that our USA has? And so, or other countries. So in order for us to really grow successfully, we need to look at how can we do business overseas? How do we become global? How do we become, how can we go beyond our borders? And that to me is an important topic. And I'm so pleased that I have the Organization of Women in International Trade and the international president coming from Geneva to be part of that particular session, along with people that are involved in how do we make trade work? What are the areas that we need to consider when we're doing global trade? So it's a real practical and yet important topic. And then, of course, also on that panel, I have, and hers is a good story, is Dion Laszlo Baker, DB's Organics. She started with my Grow Your Biz from Victoria. She started with my Grow Your Biz advisory board, and her sons came up with a wonderful product called tea popsicles. Popsicles made out of tea. And it was like, how do I get, I mean, she was passionate about it. And how do I get funding for that? How do I get it started? So of course, she went to a bank who refused her at first. They refused her. And I'm going to skip ahead to today. Last year, she was honored. Oh, she's a smart, smart lady. Last year, she was honored in 2023 at by the world to be one of the 50 fastest growing companies in America. Is now at 80 million, and I can share that.
That's
Right?
just phenomenal. So the people who come to the conference, will they be getting real practical advice on how, to manage their businesses?
I'm not going to go with practical advice because I don't want it to sound like business 101.
Yeah.
I don't want it to sound right. So what I really want people to know is that they're going to receive actionable strategies, insights, tools to implement in their business. We want them to return to their businesses excited and anxious to grow because they've learned something that's strategy. So it's not business 101. It is, you mentioned it at the beginning, it is a thought leadership. I want to change people's mindset. I want them to understand that, hey, they could be innovators, they could be influencers, and they could be disruptors. So if they don't like all the things that are happening in AI as it relates to deep fake or porn, you have a voice, and women have the loudest voices.
Yeah, that's probably true. One of the well, let's look at some of the more specific topics. For example, one of the sessions which I found intriguing is called Parallel Paralysis in the Boardroom and the Bedroom. Wow,
Yeah,
what's
that's
that
it.
about?
What is getting a lot of attention. And I think it's because we don't realize that women women who are working, they have their problems at work, but they also have the problems at home for standing up for what they want. And I want to give a shout out to Dr. Carolyn Klein, who is a sex therapist, and Dr. Shana, and I never say her name right, Shahana Alibi. Again, two great doctors, two TEDx, but they clearly say we take what happens in the office to our home, and just as commonly, we take the stressors of our home into our work. And so, and it's usually around the whole conversation, the dominated culture around sex. Do we speak up? Do we speak up in the boardroom? Do we speak up in the bedroom? And I know it sounds provocative, and it's meant to be. It's meant to be. And that, I think that stress, they will say stress, shame, and anxiety play an enormous role in holding us back in the boardroom and in the bedroom. So in order for us to get
Yeah.
career satisfaction and satisfaction in our most intimate relationships, maybe we need to change our health and our energy and our thinking. And I'm sure, Pamela, I don't know if this is correct, but I'm assuming that you know a lot of women who have been in a boardroom around a lot of men, and they have a great idea and they're
Mhm,
afraid to ask it. They're intimidated to ask
mhm,
it,
mhm. Absolutely. Very common.
right?
So I think that's really fascinating, Barbara. Well, it's such a great topic, and I'm sure that that will be really well attended. And interesting that you put those two together. Another one of the sessions that I wanted to ask about is called Through the Eyes of a Private Investigator, Mission I Am. So how does that relate to business?
Okay, great. So Adrienne Fichetti, I met her only in the fall and I fell in love with her. She was amazing. She 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 has started something, but let's go back to who she is. She was the very first female private investigator in North America. And so I
Wow.
know it's amazing. It is amazing. And what she found is that all the when she was a private investigator, people really opened up. They opened up about all kinds of things that they never realized was there. And she found out truths. And so now she calls herself, she has a global magazine, podcasts, etc. And she wants people she wants women. She's all about women's empowerment. She wants women to believe they're rock stars. And so she digs deep. She digs deep into their thoughts and how come you're holding that back? And I mean, she made me do a podcast. And she was the first, and I just did this like literally about 5 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. And she wrote about it. And I went, oh my God. And I'm in her global magazine. And I went, I would have never done that. I would have never done that. She says, you're holding it back. And when she was a private investigator, of course, she found the same thing. People don't tell everything, they hold it back. So she's taken her box of tools and she's got a beautiful story. And, it's like, I, I want people, well, I'm excited about all of them, of course, but I want
Mhm.
people to really understand that every speaker I have chosen really believes in women's empowerment and growth using all the tools and new strategies that they can possibly learn. I
That's
had,
incredible. Yeah.
I was going to say, I had one person today who said to me, I'm so looking forward to your in-person conference again. She went to the first one, 2015, blowing away, went to the second one, and then of course did the global virtual one. And she said, it's one of those things where you don't know what to expect. You're in a session. You sit beside somebody and you look at them and you start talking. Oh, where are you from and who you are, right? And she says you don't know it, but they become a potential client for you. You become collaborators. You go, oh, you're working on that? Well, so am I. Why don't we get together and they can be in different parts of the world. And so again, that's cultivating key collaborations, exchanging knowledge with fellow visionaries.
And I think it is so wonderful to have an in-person conference once again, because as you say, there's that other element where when you're networking, you're making connections, you're even forming friendships. And that's, I think,
Yeah.
very important for people's personal success. And we've gotten away from it, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's really great.
I'm actually worried about I'll give a plug to Eric Lindberger, who just wrote a book called 2020 something about seven. Here I have his title. He just wrote it, and I just listened to him on MSNBC. Give them a plug. But it's called One City, Seven People, and the Year Everything Changed. And what he
Mm,
emphasizes, it made me think deeply. How has it changed for me? How has it changed for people coming back to in person?
mhm,
And he said it was tech, the impact of the pandemic from both on both individuals and society had us look, we made tech the giant. Here we are on Zoom today. Look at Zoom, it just boomed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what happens, I was in Toronto and saw all the empty offices. I was in Vancouver 2 days ago and I saw the empty offices and I thought, what are we going to do here? These people don't
I
want to come
know.
back to work. It's
I
a
know. No,
very,
very good point. We have to, I believe we need to get back to some in person, taking advantage of the technology. I mean, let's face it, I'm in
yeah,
California and you're in Kamloops, right? So,
I'm actually in Chilliwack.
oh, in
Today
Chilliwack.
I'm in Chilliwack,
Okay, sorry.
but I could be anywhere, right? I could be anywhere.
Right. Right,
I know.
exactly. Barbara, I don't have a small business myself, or even a medium or big one, but I thought this was an amazing conference every time I've been to it. So there's something in it, I think, for everyone. But who are you specifically thinking should be attending?
Well, I know that because I'm a woman, because I'm a woman entrepreneur, I know that I always say, well, it's definitely for women, but it's also for males, for corporate represent male business owners, female business owners, corporate representatives, government attendees, trade practitioners, right? From academia, from finance, from customer brokerage and legal expertise. We need all of that. Students, that's why I'm inviting the students from the universities, right? International
Mhm.
trade, and of course, I want the media to be there. I want them to hear what are what is the what are the participants asking for, and what knowledge can they gain from the speakers. So I know that Belle Purade, I'll give her a plug from CBC too. She was one of the people that came to my 2015 and 2017 because she was excited about seeing it and didn't stay all the whole time, but at least it's getting the word out there that we are here. If I was to leave you with the words, I would say that we will continue, EXCELerate conferences will continue to innovate, inspire, and influence thought leaders so that we can grow and we can do it in a way that yes, we will use the tools, we will use AI, but we have to understand, how are we using it? Is it
Mhm.
good? Is it harmful?
Probably both.
Yeah,
So,
probably both.
um, yeah, well, it's going to be really, I'm very excited. So now, how do people register? What do you have to do if you want to attend?
Thank you. www excuse me, I just about EXCELerate, spelled EXCELERATE 2024.com. Everything is online. Everything is online. And we have the app. The app that we're using will be Hoova, so people can really connect in advance. Hey, what session are you going to? I'm going to go to
Mhm.
this one. Let's exchange after. I want people to have at least 2 weeks of doing that. Who's going? What can we do together? And of course, Vancouver's a beautiful city. So we have all the pre and post tours listed. I mean, you're in Vancouver, you probably know all the restaurants and city more than I do, but everything from beautiful Whistler, Victoria Empress, the Okanagan wine tours, the Fraser Valley wine tours. Yeah, we are a farm. We are a community that offers that too. Granville Island, great shopping. I mean, Robson Street
Yeah,
is like uh, the beautiful one in California where you are.
Rodeo Drive. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I never say
Yeah.
them. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
So
Yeah, no,
lots
say
to do. Lots to do.
lots to do and lots of very valuable information. So anyone who's watching this, if you are looking for a really unique experience, I highly recommend attending EXCELerate. It will help you in business and I think just in life, right, Barbara? Because it's
I,
not just about business.
I absolutely agree. I think we need to all, as a global world, we need to stay current on industry trends for innovative thinking in every sector. I don't care if it's agriculture, forestry, uh, commercial, whatever it is, we need to stay current. What's happening? What are the trends, right? And by including global speakers as from corporate government representatives and connecting them with both male and female businesses and students, like we need to influence those students. Hey, think bigger, think globally, internationally.
I think that you have personally inspired so many people. I wonder how many businesses out there were started because you believed in someone. And that's such a critical part of being able to establish a business and take the risk and, go out on a limb and, like you say, tea popsicles. I mean, who would have thought 80 million? But yet, a lot of people have a good idea and they just don't know how to get started. And this is the way to go. If you come to EXCELerate, that's among other things what you can learn. And, as I say, there's so many businesses out there, so many people who have been influenced by you, Barbara. So you're amazing. And you're still putting on this incredible conference. And just to remind people, it's April 24th to 26th at the Pan Pacific Hotel in Vancouver. And you can register by going online to EXCELerate24. Was that it?
2024.
2024.
EXCELerate 2024 spelled with an E. EXCELerate. And we'll put it on this. We'll put it on this
Right.
podcast that we're doing, Pamela. But I also, anybody who watches this podcast, I'm going to just make this offer right now. Anyone who watches this podcast and emails me personally to Barbara, BARBARA .Mowat, MOWAT at grow without the W, GROWYOURBIZ.com, I will give them a 25% discount.
Wow, that's
I just
amazing.
would love to see, I would love to see more people coming to embrace the people that are offering strategies, that are offering innovative ideas in all the key issues, whether it's our planet, whether it's food, whether it's what's new, what's different, and how do we utilize AI as a tool rather than as a warfare.
Right, right. Are there any outstanding people coming who you'd like to mention?
I would, and I mentioned the sustainable future. So
Right.
I'm honored to have met Hank Rogers in New York about 3 years ago. Hank Rogers is and if you have not seen his movie, it's Apple TV. Apple TV made a movie called Tetris, TETRIS. And Tetris is the story of how Hank Rogers had to fought for it, and it shows the movie is done brilliantly, actually. He doesn't act in it, it's actors, it's a real movie about how he went into Russia and the mafia and the whole thing that he had to go through with Microsoft and the guy who is Gillian Maxwell, the crook, Maxwell, whatever his name was. I can never remember his name, right?
Robert Maxwell?
One. Yes, that's right.
Right.
The dealings that he had to do with them it's all in the movie. So I went, oh my God. And you're coming to my conference and you're speaking on a panel. So he's not only a speaker on a panel, he's a keynote too. So, and people have the chance to talk to him. So was Russia really like that? Did you really? I mean, the movie is done brilliantly. And then of course we've got Monique Maison. Monique Maison, I met her in mid 2000s. She was the first one to start doing beautiful clothing line and bags, etc., from plastics, and then it grew. She was in Shanghai. She's from the Netherlands. She's in Shanghai, manufacturing base set up. She hires fishermen to go get the bottles. And so she was well ahead of herself. And she's an expert on blockchain technology. And so
Really?
if anybody wants to know anything about blockchain technology, it's her. Then we, of course, we have Nicole Rycroft, who was actually chosen by TED Global, not TED Talks, but TED Global, to be one of the 10 audacious projects that they're going to highlight in 2024 with her company
Wow.
called Canopy. That's an example, right? So I'm
I'm sorry, a
going
company called what? I
Canopy,
didn't. Oh, okay.
Canopy, Canopy. And then Monique's is Waste to Wear. And of course, Hank's is Planet Foundation, Planet Energy, Planet Alliance, Blue Planet, always Blue Planet, Blue Planet.
Mhm,
They're amazing speakers, right? So that's one
mhm,
example. And then of course, in the access to financing, investing with a gender lens, we have the fabulous Rosalind Coonan, the most amazing researcher that has been
mhm.
working in this area for so long. And her and I laughed because we're about the same age. We're in our 70s, and we go, didn't we talk about these topics in the 80s and the 90s? And
I
she said, yeah,
know.
Barbara, we're still talking about it. So what's different? And so we're challenging women's entrepreneurship hub, not challenging them, but we have them. We have a venture cap. We have a venture. We have somebody who does venture capital. We have BMO, my presenting sponsor, who I absolutely love, and they
Mhm,
believed in me. They believed in me from the very beginning, and they're still there working and being the presenting sponsor of EXCELerate. So we have a finance company, we have a venture uh, company, and then we have an entrepreneur. We have the most beautiful person, Tierra Fraser, who has Elio Bird and Esqui Air, and it's important that we feature what's the challenges. How do you get money? How do you get venture
uh-huh,
capital? How do you get an angel investor? How do you do that? And no one
mhm,
has the answer. But if we don't work together to deal with, is it more research? Is it is it being at the right place at the right time? I mean, that's an important topic.
maybe
And
all
then
of those.
another important topic, of course, is labor shortage. So we have the head person coming from Ottawa to Patrick O'Leary, who's going to talk about their organization is called Talent Beyond Borders, dealing with
Hmm,
immigrants and refugees. Because we have construction and health in BC in particular, but we have labor shortage. How do we find the right people? And here we have immigrants and people sleeping on the street. Well, can we do anything for those refugees? Can we do
mhm,
anything for the immigrants? How do we match them up? How do we how do we help our society grow? I guess
mhm.
that's what I'm passionate about, Pamela. I mean, you can see me. I'm
You are,
passionate about
Barbara, I
helping.
know.
I'm laughing because I talk too much, but it's like,
No, no, no. No, and I just think it's really amazing when you consider how many different topics you have, experts who have incredibly important information to share, and to bring them all together into one location, one with basically, many different themes, but one overriding theme, which is to encourage women in business and as entrepreneurs and just as people, really. It's really quite astonishing. And I think I'm so looking forward to the whole conference,
Thank
April
you.
24th and 25th
Thank you. And 26, 24,
and
25, and
26.
26.
Right.
And of
Sorry.
course, no, that's okay. Um, and of course, once again, I want to thank you, Pamela, for always being such a great MC, and you always get people together. That's the other exciting part, is that we also have fun. We also have fun.
Right.
There's music, there's entertainment, and there's the opportunity to meet with people that are great leaders. We actually have 58 speakers.
Wow. How do you do
58.
it? How do you
Yeah,
do it?
58. We've got all of the, and they're talented. They're not your typical, they are definitely thought leaders, and
Mhm.
that's what I wanted. They are amazing speakers. So we want to fill up them. We want to fill it up. My goal, it's March 27th. Call me because I want 55 more people attending to really make it
Okay,
a wow.
and they get a deal, so
Yep.
it's a great time to
Yep.
call.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much for sharing this, Barbara. Looking forward to it, can't wait. And thank you for putting it all together, and great to see you. And we'll see you in a month.
I'll see you in I think it's almost 3 weeks, but thank you.
Okay.
And thank you to all my sponsors, in particular, Bank of Montreal. I love you. You're my presenting sponsor, and everything you offer over the past 4 conferences have been tremendously worthwhile for women to know that you're
Mhm.
standing behind them.
Yeah, and you make such a difference for women. So on behalf of all the women out there, thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.